Hello, pre-algebra. Mr. Lawrence here with your flipped lesson. This is a review for the test to help you get ready. And I'm just going to go through the packet you had for homework. So hopefully you've tried all these problems. Let me get into right mode first. Problem number 1, you have a prism. And it looks something like this. Right, I don't think they did the full 3D effect. So let me change it so that it looks just like the one on your worksheet so I don't confuse anybody. You have a prism that looks something like this, right? And you're told that this is X, and this is Y, and this is Z. Furthermore, you're told that the volume of it is 560 inches cubed, right? Inches cubed. And you're also told that X equals 7 and that Y equals 10. Well, normally you'd go length times width times height equals 560, right? Or you could say X times Y times Z equals 560, same thing. Well, you know X is 7, Y is 10, you don't know Z, and now you can just treat it like a one-step equation. This would be 70Z equals 560. Divide by 70, and Z will equal 8 inches. All right, now you need to do the surface area for part 1A, right? Well, draw your prism. Remember, you're going to have 4 rectangles in a line, and then you'll have 2 more on opposite sides of one of them. All right, if you want to call all these 10, that's fine. And then you have to alternate. Make this 8, make that 8. Make that 7, that's 7. And then this would have to be 8 and 7 like that. Okay, you're going to have 3 pairs of congruent triangles. This one will have an area of 80, 80 here also, 70 and 70, 56 and 56. All right, so you're going to have 160. I got that from 80 and 80. You're going to have 140. I got that from 70 and 70. Then you're going to have 112. I got that from 56 and 56. Add them up, and you're going to get 412 inches squared. That is the surface area of that prism. All right, very good. Moving right along. Problem number 2. We have a triangular prism, right? And remember, I told you some of the information was missing. We know that the height is 22, and we also know that the area here is 15. What kind of units are we in? Centimeters squared, and this will be centimeters. Now remember, volume for a right prism is the area of the base times the height. Well, they already told you the area of the base. The base is a triangle because it's a triangular prism. So you can just plug 15 centimeters squared in for capital B. It's not base times height, it's area of the base. And then 22 centimeters is the height. Multiply that, and you will get 330 centimeters squared times centimeters would be centimeters cubed. And there's your volume. All right. Now, in order to do 2A, I came around, or I told you to fill in this information. I told you that this was 5. I told you that this was 6, and this slant height over here, I believe, was 5.8, and that's a rounded number. If I'm going to do surface area, I'm going to have 3 rectangles. How do I know there's 3 rectangles? Because it's a triangular prism. Triangles have 3 sides, so there's going to be 3 rectangles, one touching each side of the triangle if I fold it up. Okay, now I know that all of these are 22. Right? That's the height of the prism. I also know that this side right here is 5.8, and that means that this is 5.8. How do I know that? Because when I fold it up, this side of the triangle and that side of the rectangle will be touching each other. Now, this side over here is also 5.8, which means that's 5.8. Same logic. This, it's 6. It's the base of the triangle. I don't need to calculate the area of the triangle. I already know it's 15. How do I know that? The story told me. All right. So for this one here I need to do 22 times 6. I'll put down the 2, I'll carry the 1, that'll be 13, that'll be 132. So I have a 15, a 15, a 132, and then I've got to do 22 times 5.8. Ignore that mark there, it's a stray mark. All right, I'm going to get 6, I'm going to carry the 1, I'm going to get 16, and the 1 carry to be 17. Placeholder, it's going to be 10, carry the 1, 10 plus 1 is 11. I'm running out of room here. I'm going to add and get 6, a 7, a 2, a 1, and let me see here. I need my decimal point, which I believe is going to show up right there. I think I put a comma in here incorrectly because I need a decimal point, which will be 1 scoopy over. All right, so I know that these guys are 127.6. 127.6. If I add up the 5 circled areas, I will end up with, yikes, I'm dropping my paper. 417 and 2/10 centimeters squared. That is the surface area of the triangular prism. It's a little bit more work, but it's certainly not hard. All right, number 3. Number 3 is just like a problem from the previous night. All right. I'm told that the radius is 6, and this is 20, and we're in centimeters. There we go. All right, to do the volume, I'm going to do the area of the base, which is a circle, multiplied by the height of the prism. So the area of the base is pi r squared, and the height of the prism. So I'll use 3.14 for pi. Remembering it's not the same thing, I need 6 squared. And then I'll multiply by how tall the prism is. All right, when I do that, let me see here. All right, let's go with 3.14 times 6 squared times 20. And I end up with 2,260 and 8/10. So the volume ends up being 2,000. I'm not in right mode, so the volume ends up being 2,260 and 8/10. And that would be centimeters cubed because I'm in volume. All right. Now to do surface area, I've got a circle, I've got a rectangle, and I've got a circle. All right, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So I'm going to need 3.14 times 6 squared, right? Let me fill that out really quick. 3.14 times 6 squared, which is the same as, oh, Mr. Lawrence, I made a mistake. Second enter. Always good to pay attention to what you're doing, to catch things like that, or to not make it in the first place. And I got 113 and 4/100ths. So this would be 113 and 4/100ths. That is the area of that circle. It's also the area of this one. Okay, now to do the rectangle, remember, it's the circumference times the height. It's the circumference times the height. And the circumference is pi d times the height. So I'm going to do 3.14. 12 is the diameter, and the height is 20. So now I can go to my calculator for that. I'm going to get 3.14 times 12 times 20, and I'm going to get 753 and 6/10. So that's going to end up being 753 and 6/10. So I'm going to add the 113, and 753 and 6/10. Put a placeholder in a 0. I'm going to get an 8. I'm going to get a 6. I'm going to get a 9, get a 7, and get a 9. And that will be centimeters squared because it's surface area. So the red one there is my surface area. All right, moving right along. Okay, that's 3 and 3a, by the way, in case you're wondering. All right, 4. 4 is actually easy. It says, Bob has designed a scale model of a box with a closed lid. He knows that the scale model has a volume of 200 centimeters cubed. If he triples both the length, he triples the width, and he doubles the height, well, by how many times did the volume increase? Well, 3 times 3 times 2 is 18. So the volume increases by 18 times. That's all you have to do. Now, if you wanted to, you could draw the rectangle and rectangular prism and do all that, but it's unnecessary. All right, number 5, Sarah Brooks was actually doing a nice job on number 5 in her group. It looks kind of like this, right? And then it kind of goes like that. And that's decent enough. And I know that this is 11 centimeters. I know that these are all marked congruent. That's 4 centimeters. I know that this is 5 centimeters. And I know that this is 12 centimeters. To do the volume of this shape, I would break it up into 2 shapes I know. I would go like this and figure out the volume of the bottom prism. And to do that, I'm going to do the area of the base, 4 times 12, and then multiply by the height of that prism. Okay, and I believe that comes out to be 240 centimeters cubed. Now to do the volume of the top, I just got to make sure I'm labeling everything right. I know for a fact that this is 4 and this is 4. See, they're parallel, right? And that's parallel, so it's 4 by 4. And then I just got to figure out this piece here. Well, the whole thing is 11, but this left side over here is 5, which means that this piece here is 5. If the whole thing is 11 and that part of it's 5, what's left over must be 6. How did I get that? 11 minus 5. So that must be 6. So the volume of the top prism is 4 times 4 times 6. 24 times 4 would be 96. Right? Is that right? I have a mental blank, guys. Sorry. Yeah, I think 96 is going to be right. So 96 centimeters cubed. So the entire volume must be 633 centimeters cubed. And you are done. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the problem for today, the flipped lesson. Hopefully you study for the test, and it'll show up because the quarter ends on Friday. All right, Mr. Lawrence signing off. Have a good night, everybody.